Hey guys, it's Mike from Cornfield Customs, and today I'm going to go over how I flipped the shift pattern in the GT to make it easier to drive. So stick around as I show you how I did that. All right, so when I first got the GT, I didn't change any of the mechanical stuff other than things that it needed. So when I got it and drove it home, the shift pattern was a standard dogleg style, like a race transmission where first is out of the way and reverse is out of the way, but it was flipped upside down. So if you disregard how the numbering is now, before first gear was forward, and then we went to second, third, fourth, and fifth. So standard dogleg, just backwards. So after about a year, I kind of got tired of it and investigated it and figured out how to correct that. So now everything is a standard dogleg. So we have first, which is all the way to the left and back. Then second is in the middle and forward. Third is straight back. Fourth is to the right and forward. And fifth is straight back from there. And then to get into reverse, we have to pull all the way over, down, and up. And that makes it harder to get it into reverse so we accidentally don't bump it in. So there's a little bit more going on with getting it to actually work because the shifter in this is not linkage driven, it's cable driven. So we have a little shifter box in here that moves around and lets us move in all the directions. And then we have two Morse cables that are attached that run to the back. So I'll hop out, show you what we did in the back to get that to work, because we didn't change anything in here except for this plate. All the mechanical changes were done in the back. So let me hop out and I'll show you how we got this to work. So the car has a ZF 5-speed transaxle, which is right here. And what they do is they share the same ZF transaxle in a Pantera as they do in a GT. But in a GT40, the engine sets so low that they actually flip the transaxle upside down to get the axle shafts higher so you can get the engine lower. So you'll hear people talk about a flipped ZF, and that's what this is. So usually the shifter is on the other side of the car and at the bottom, but when you flip that over, it becomes on the left-hand side and on the top. And I don't know why, but this seems to be a common problem. I've read on a lot of the GT40 forums that people just deal with this backwards dogleg shift pattern. They never correct it, and they just deal with it, kind of like I did for the past year. But what I figured out is this shifter arm was pointed down, so to get that to be opposite, all we had to do was flip the shifter arm up, which sounds pretty simple, and that was the easiest part of the job. So literally all I did was took this nut loose, took our cables off. So this is our forward and back cable, and this is our in and out cable. Popped those off, took the arm, flipped it upside down, and bolted it back on. And that got the shift pattern to be the right direction for a standard dogleg style shifter. But then came the problem of the cables were in the wrong spot. So nobody makes a kit that bolts the cables in the right place, in the right location for a flipped ZF. I don't know why, but they don't. So I started here with our push-pull, and if Jamie can zoom in here, the shift cable was, let me get my hand in there, down here where my finger is. So I raised it about 4.5 inches to get it to be in the right plane here. So I used the same bracket that bolted to the ZF. I made a new top piece with a hole in it to bolt the Morse cable and gusseted it, and then gusseted it down. So I just modified the original mount and got this into plane. That way, everything moves forward and back, and as it comes out, it's not in a bind. So that was the easy one. The hardest thing with the other one is this ball mount was originally here at the backside. So it stuck straight out, and with moving the bracket under here, which is going to be kind of tough to see, but there's a bracket here that holds the cable. With that ball socket in the end like that, it moved so much that it would always put this in a bind. So it wasn't shifting straight back, it would shift it like a weird sweep, and it would always kind of kick over at the last second as it came around the back of the transaxle. So what I did is I took this shifter arm back off, and I drilled and tapped in the top of the shifter arm and put the ball in the top to get a better angle on this and shorten up that throw so we didn't have it sticking out a ½ inch back here, which had more travel. Because all this one does is controls in and out. So it doesn't matter if it's pulling out here or up here. So that was this, and I kind of bent this bracket and modified it and kind of stiffened it up a little bit better and just redesigned the way the cables operate and how they mount. So now with everything hooked back up, tightened, we can see that we get a full range of motion. We can pull this all the way out, pop it into reverse, then we can push it in, cycle through some gears. And it's kind of hard because we don't have a lot of leverage here versus if we're using the handle, but everything works and it's nice and smooth. So what I'll do is I'll let Jamie stand here and I'll hop in and I'll cycle it through the gears and tell you what gear I'm in, and you can see how it all operates now. And then that will be pretty much all the work that was involved switching from a reverse dogleg shift pattern into a standard dogleg shift pattern. All right, so I'm sitting in the car. Jamie will show you the shifter coming out of the transaxle, and we'll shift through the pattern so you can see how everything works. So that's reverse, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. So, and that's neutral there, so the shift selector moves in and out freely. All right, so that's gonna wrap up this video. I know it's not super long, but I figured it was kind of a neat thing, especially if you have a GT40 replica and you have the flipped over style ZF transaxle and your dogleg style shift pattern is backwards. So I know it's nothing super complicated, but it did take some figuring. I think total with moving everything around and figuring out how to re-drill and move the pivot, I think I've got about 6 hours in getting this corrected to a standard dogleg styled shift pattern. So again, hopefully it's informative, not super long, but short and sweet and to the point. So that's pretty much it. So I've got some other stuff I need to do this weekend, so I'm gonna get back to work. But thank you guys so much for checking out this video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. It's a big help, and we're gonna continue to put out all kinds of different videos, from GT videos, land speed racing videos, tube bending, sheet metal shaping, and how-to stuff. So make sure to stick around, and we will catch you guys on the next one.